Okay, so now we are at week 3. Congratulations on getting this far. I hope you all are finding it not too difficult to keep up with your assignments, with your reading, with your writing, and that you are, able to stick to the commitment you made to sit down and have a regular writing schedule. So, wherever your calendar hangs, check it. Be sure that it's present for you so that you can be reminded. Obviously, if you miss a day here and there, I don't want you to beat yourselves up, but having that calendar and having that regular writing time, and take it from somebody who, really struggles with that, right? I've got so many things going on that are much more pressing than actually sitting down and getting words on the page. But I do know from all my experience how important it is to just carve out that time. So, even if you don't become a published writer in the future, just the discipline of actually having to sit down and write and think deeply and sort of experience the world through art is actually one that I think will stay with you forever. In fact, research has shown that one way to get past traumas or upsetting incidents is to write about them and to, give time to sort of reflect on what's going on and to understand how your body's processing it, right? So all these things we talk about in terms of detail, in terms of noticing, in terms of slowing down and taking the world in, are actually really crucial to the way we keep ourselves healthy as human beings. So, not to get too far off on that track, that's a whole other course, right? But I do want you to just notice maybe changes that you might experience as you go along, if you're keeping up with your notebook and your calendar. Just sort of, maybe ways in which you kind of articulate things differently, or details that you might have pick up on now that you might not have done before. So just start to notice those things. All right, so this week we are reading Brockmeyer's A Fable with White Strips of Paper, a wonderful, wonderful text. And those of you interested in science fiction and fantasy, you're going to learn a lot from this one, right? So those genres are not those that we cover directly in this course. However, as I think I've said multiple times in the past, if you've been in my classes before, everything that you do in literary fiction will benefit no matter what genre you're writing in, okay? It's sort of like learning to play the piano, translates much better to other instruments than other instruments translate to that, right? So learn in your literary fiction how to create character, how to have compelling dialogue, how to, have plot organically grow from situation and character, and you can translate all that into any other genre and be really effective there. So this story will really show you about world building. How do you just kind of introduce the absurdity of a world that you want readers to kind of swallow whole and accept, and how do you sustain that, okay, without leaving the reader feeling tricked? Because that's one of the big problems of, writing any kind of story that goes outside the world that we know, the realistic world that we're familiar with, is that you don't want your reader to feel tricked in the end, right? So, so that's that story. I think for those of you into fantasy and science fiction will be really interested in that one. You will also notice with this Brockmeyer, as well as with the Becky Haggiston, which we're reading for Wednesday, Midnight, Licorice and Shadow, a wonderful, wonderful story that's got some mystery to it. You'll see how these stories start at the beginning is in medias res, right? The beginning is in the middle of things. We're not given a whole lot of introduction to who these characters are, what they're doing, why they're here, right? It's going to raise certain questions, and those questions are what are going to keep you reading. So notice the questions that come to mind. And a lot of you, I'm sure, in high school or even middle school, did those exercises. I know my kids did, where you had to, guess what's going to happen next, or what questions you had for the text, right, as you're reading along. Those exercises are geared towards understanding how an author embeds dramatic questions throughout a text, which is what keeps you reading, right? Once you care about the character and once these questions seem relevant to you, you are going to turn the page. And that's what we all want for our stories, right? Is to turn those pages, get readers to turn the pages. And for us to turn the pages, actually, not for our own selves, not to get bored while we're writing. Okay, so I have attached here the critique sheet and the difference between critique and criticism, just so that everybody is on the same page about that, because you're going to be looking at your peers discussion board 3 and giving some feedback. All right, this particular sheet, let me open it up for you. Oh, maybe I have to share that again. Let's see here. The sheet I'm going to show you is, I'm just locating it here. Here we go. Okay. Is going to be the one, this is what we're going to be using as we critique our peers. This particular exercise is not long enough for you to, write really substantial feedback, but it's for you to start getting practice giving feedback. So this sheet is really for the longer feedback. However, we're going to modify it for our purposes. So first you will reread your own story and respond to the questions